I'm sure we've all seen that episode of I Love Lucy, where Lucy and Ethel are tasked to work at a chocolate factory where they have to inspect chocolate. And eventually, the conveyor belt gets so fast that they wind up just trying to hide the chocolate. They stuff them in their blouse, they shove them in their mouths, they try to eat some. And eventually, the inspector comes on the line and sees that apparently they were doing a pretty good job. And she says, "Speed it up for the next shift." And the look of chagrin on the face of Lucy and Ethel pretty much encapsulates how employees feel at Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza in regards to their job. The problem is, the rapid expansion of operations of Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza has spread our resources too thin, in particular management, resulting in a lack of scope as a cohesive organization. My name is Austen Canonica. At the Wellington location in Florida, I'm the assistant kitchen manager, office administrator, and I've been a corporate trainer throughout the United States. My recommendation for Anthony's is that we develop a top-down approach where upper and middle management can take reins of the company and set standards and procedures that will trickle down throughout the entire organization. There are 3 reasons why I want to adopt this strategy. The first is that standards and procedures will reduce role conflict and role ambiguity. The second reason is that by creating a positive culture, we can increase competitiveness for our employees and we can retain higher rates of customer satisfaction. And the third reason is that by having performance reviews, we can all be held to the same standard and that we could have continual and sustainable education throughout the company. So the first reason why we should adopt standards and procedures at Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza is because this will allow us to reduce the level of role ambiguity and role conflict in the workplace. Studies show that when employees understand their job description, they feel like that they could succeed in the workplace. We should no longer throw our employees to the fire, and for them to come in each day with no expectations and have to develop a new system each day to work in the random scenarios that we place them in. Instead, they should be structured and organized, and they should come in every day and know exactly what to do so they can have a greater opportunity to succeed. The second reason why we should implement this strategy is that we can create a positive culture. By cultivating a positive culture, people will want to come to work. They'll want to work with their coworkers, and they'll do more for the company. If each member of the team believes in one another, generally that team is more successful. And it's for this reason that we should adopt a top-down strategy. The third reason why we should implement the top-down strategy is for performance reviews. This will allow us to have continual and sustainable education, and we can all be held to the same standards. If each employee in the company is held to the same standards and has to follow the same procedures, we all play on an equal playing field. This allows employees to focus most on Anthony's and to stay on task when they're at work at all times. The performance reviews that we will use will be 360 degrees, meaning the employees that are superiors will conduct performance reviews for the subordinates, but the subordinates will also conduct performance reviews for their superiors. There will be fair conversations about compensation, and there will be opportunities to discuss advancement throughout the company. The biggest argument to counter my recommendation would be that previous and current attempts from top and middle management to enact change in the company have been met with skepticism, and that there's a lack of credibility in top management. Our employees do not believe in our top and middle management that they can effectively create change in this organization. It is because of the delivery of the way they try to affect change, and it is because of the lack of follow-through that there is to enact this change. My rebuttal is that the top-down approach will work because the standards and procedures that are set are the mandate for all Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza employees, with no exception. And the performance reviews, being 360 degrees, will allow us to spotlight these problems and issues and attack them before they grow. Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza should develop the top-down approach for management so that the standards and procedures could allow for employees to have a more fair workplace. It'll also ensure that by having performance reviews, we could also make sure that each member is held accountable to the same standards. The San Francisco Giants, just last night, won their 3rd World Series championship in the past 5 years. And they were only able to become a dynasty of this success by having a strong management structure throughout their organization. Executives set standards and procedures that the players followed. They had an extremely positive culture, and they all held each other accountable for their actions. Anthony's needs to act more like this team and less like this team. Thank you.
Questions?
He's the question guy. Let's ask himself a question.
I was thinking about it.
What question would you ask yourself?
Yeah.
You were sitting listening to your speech.
Pretty fun.
Am I really going to ask myself a question right now?
Yeah. Craig has one. Craig has one.
So you strongly believe in a top-down approach to the organization. Don't you think kind of like a multi-tiered top-down approach? So where you have your initial executive leader and then you diversify the approach down to maybe 3 core sub-leaders would be more effective because then you don't have to directly go to the top management for decision making. You actually have 3 sub-levels which you can create a more creative environment, if you want to call it.
I think that's a great idea, and the speech that I gave before, I talked about a flat approach, which I really liked. However, given our current makeup, I think this would be the most effective structure, given the infancy of our company as a whole. So given our current structure, I would recommend more of a basic top-down approach, but I certainly think that the 3-tiered approach would be more effective, especially given that if we had more effective employees throughout the entire organization. Mitch?
Top-down approach, it's evident that there's growth at Anthony's.
Yes.
Wouldn't the senior leadership team see the growth and see the same thing that you are? And why aren't they stepping up to the plate to do something that's so evident, that's visible?
I think that a lot of these problems are prevalent through most stores in the company. However, I don't believe that there are a large number of executives that are actually spending enough time in each individual location to actually understand what's going on a day-to-day basis. I think we more so worry about the main metrics that we use to measure these stores, such as sales and how we're doing on labor and food cost. And as long as the numbers reflect what they're supposed to and that we're growing on a day-to-day, week-to-week, and month-to-month basis, unfortunately, I don't believe that our top management is very much concerned with the feelings of the assistant kitchen manager in the Wellington location. So, all right.